Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Don't be offended by the truth. They be offended because you called out the truth. Simple as that. They don't want to hear any other narrative that makes them look bad.
One thing I can't stand at this big grown age is somebody who acts like cause and effect does not exist. Like, yes, your actions caused this outcome. Yes, what you did lit the match. Like, why are you surprised and playing victim?
Guys, Chico. They never lie.
That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late, they cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll.
The flow insane, take my spot, so the range, shoot my shot, perfect aim, 3rd degree, that perfect flame, ain't no sleep, that's the game, oh so southern, that's the slang, when they see me, that's the main, chasing checks and fly like planes, big old stick, I bought a cane, flick my wrist and bought the ring, I'm so boss, we're not the same, paid the cost and kept the change, now I'm walking Hall of Fame, and I reside in the cloud, grand wishes, with these bitches, taking pictures with the crowd, and I'm out.
Every Monday, peace, praise, glory, and honor to the Most High. Good to see you guys again. I hope you enjoyed your weekend. I hope you got a chance to decompress, get the mess off. I hope your week is starting off the way that you wanted to start off. Shout outs to my poets, writers, and content creators. We try our best over here to be unbiased, neutral. You see the title. Appreciate y'all. You dig? I got the crew in the building, man. You see the title. Yeah, it's one of those. I know a lot of people don't like talking about it, but I'm gonna keep talking about it because, well, nobody else is. You just don't seem to care for some reason. I know I'm not the only one that finds an issue with it. So this right here, though, I didn't even know this was a thing. I really didn't. At Amber Hartley, good evening. I hope all is well with you. I appreciate you for stopping through. I hope you enjoyed your week so far. It's just Monday, but you know how things go throughout the week. You know, it could get stressful. Don't let it. Let me bring the people up here on the big screen real quick. I got Sydney at Rob in the building. I'm gonna give him a chance to get acquainted. We just gonna jump into it. I got a clip I want to play for y'all. Tell me how you feel about it. Yeah, let's go ahead and start this show up real quick. Rob, Sydney, what up?
Hello. My daughter also
Hello. Hello.
You want to wave?
Hi, princess.
You wave?
Wave.
Get your twin.
As soon as she heard the intro, she was like, "Can I say hi? Can I say hi?"
It's always good to be back with the fam, man. How's everybody? How was y'all weekends?
Doing pretty good. I found out that my second manuscript, the climate change one, is not due on April 14th. It's due on April 4th. So I've been in crunch mode trying to finish up all the formatting and stuff like that. But I'm in a better shape than I was last time. Last time I didn't have all the poems I wanted, but this time I have all the poems done. I just have to format them and put in the extra bits that I want in there. But yeah, almost done with the second one.
Okay. Progress is better than no progress.
Slow motion better than no motion.
Exactly.
Yes.
Rob, what's the word, man? You in and out of the country, bro. You everywhere. I know you got to be prayed up the way things going on out here. What's up?
Nah, man, just grinding. That became my favorite thing to do. I tell everybody I used to want to stay on one block for the rest of my life, like 2 or 3 blocks. I say about where it was like you had to peel me off the corner. And I went out of town one time and was like, oh. And ever since then I've been hooked. So we grind, and then get to it.
I ain't mad at it. I love it. But it's like I'm looking through the lens of you, man. So when I see you pulling up in all these foreign little spots, I'm like, all right, I got it. I'm trying to get like that, even if it's just a sightsee. I'm trying to see some stuff. I'm not trying to be stuck in one spot.
Yeah. I take a lot of footage. That's for the music. They say you got to be a content creator now, so it's hard. It's hard, how from our era we don't take much pictures and all that, but I try to show those different perspectives, and especially for the kids too, just for people from my blocks, and then for the kids, if anybody's watching, to say, okay, here, I've got to go. You don't have to, ain't no pressure or nothing, but it's like, yeah. Shout out to you, Chef. It's just the camera, Chef. I be recording. I was recording in the little antique shop that I would when we was out in Morocco, and the dude called me the BBC. He said, you must be the BBC. I said, yeah, I'm reporting. I'm reporting. Yes, I am. And my people need to see this.
Real talk. Hey, look. Let's jump into this clip, man. Just like a minute plus. It ain't very long. Just enough to tell you what's happening. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, and you looking at the title, you're like, whoa, what is it? What? I got you. I didn't know this was a thing. Clearly it is. So let me play it. Let's see. Do I got it up here? Oh, it's already up. All right, hold on a minute. There it is.
Five Nights at Epstein's is the current game that schools are drastically trying to ban, as a bunch of students all across the US are currently trying to play Five Nights at Epstein's instead of studying whilst at school. It is bad enough that this game even exists, let alone that children are playing it, but they're playing it at school. Come on, bro. What is 2026? Like, seriously, please. If you haven't already guessed, Five Nights at Epstein's is obviously a take on Five Nights at Freddy's, but schools are now working to block viral new game called Five Nights at Epstein's that is spreading quickly among students in US schools. Now, the news article speaks about schools in the US, but I am sure there are also people trying to play this in the UK too. But schools in America are trying to block this game because why are people even trying to play games at school? Like, I hated school and I don't like school and the school system. But how are they playing games at school? Like, my teachers had that shit on lockdown. Although I do appreciate that I'm an unk and I went to school like 20 years ago. So I guess times have changed and everybody has a PC in every classroom, I assume, at this point. Whereas when I was at school, it was all pen and paper, no PCs. So I don't actually know what people do at school anymore. Do you guys have PCs in every classroom, or do you still write on pen and paper? Because I honestly don't know. Five Nights at Epstein.
All right, yo, it's a thing. I didn't know there was a game out for it, but I guess I really shouldn't be surprised at it. Real quick, has anybody heard of this before, or is this brand new to you too?
I heard of it. I know that I think it was Roblox. They also got in trouble because they had a game or an area of the game that was also like escaped from Epstein Island style stuff. So I've definitely heard of these games existing. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I heard of it too on Roblox. And you know how it be when you tell, especially kids, that you can't have it or you don't need to be on it. That's what they're gonna get on. Fortunately, we don't have all that technology, and then now they got like the blocks. They're supposed to have the different blocks, but I did hear about this as well. And you know, my first thought about that is we in America, will we make the wildest people famous?
Yo, I swear, I didn't know this was a thing. Like they already have enough violent games out there in the first place. This feels a little more. Is it just me, or is it just it's insulting? It's insulting. It's like you slapping people in the face. You already know what's going on with the files and all of that. It's a conversation that's just never gonna die. People are asking for answers. What's going on with the files? Why hasn't anyone been locked up? Why do we still have Orange Man in office? You got this little girl who just got put in the ground because she was bullied at school. Now you're telling me there's a video game that is explicitly dedicated to a man who was notorious for all types of heinous crimes towards children, and someone okayed it. Someone said, all right, this is awesome. This is perfect. This is a genius move for our brand. This is excellent for society. It's going to, like, what are we talking about? I don't understand it at all. How do you feel about it?
I think the other thing that is alarming is the internet is already dangerous enough. Like, we all know the issue with pedos taking advantage of websites where kids frequent to prey on them. And this, even if there is somehow no adults that are taking advantage of this system, it still brings up questions to kids and encourages conversations that should not be had in the way that they would be had with literal children. And what I mean by that, obviously, parents at the youngest age the child can comprehend, they should be talking to their child about identifying adults that are trying to take advantage of them, because for their safety, they need to understand what is okay and what is not okay, what lines should not be crossed with people that you don't know or even people you do know. But this being allowed for kids to play, obviously we already know that parents are not really paying attention. they're already being exposed to narratives and themes that are not appropriate for children. And this just directly exposes them to one of the most disgusting, I wouldn't even call it a conspiracy because it's true, but the most like disgusting situations in the United States and honestly globally, because this is not just US people. But it directly exposes them to that information and will encourage them to talk about it, because we all know there's always that one kid like, oh, did you hear about did you see that thing online? There's always going to be a child that knows about it and introduces it to other children. So this is just a doorway for children to get exposed to this type of content, which at the least will create a sense of anxiety and fear of the world. And at the very worst, it will allow them to be exposed to that type of content. Yeah, I'll leave it at that for now.
It's crazy. Like, so I heard this thing to where people with exceptional talents are often forgiven for their human flaws. And it's one thing to be human and have flaws, but ideally, I would think people that deserve a second chance are the people who changed their ways and are able to prove that they're changed and they're not hurting anybody anymore. But and then also I think about the double standard, because if it was a person of color, the conspiracist theory me, conspiracy theory, whatever theorist that I am, he would have fried way before, because we do know that he had been let out over 3 times for the same charges. And then there's the part of American society where we turn bad people into superheroes. So at the end of the day, that's another way for them to get money, because I'm pretty sure when they make those documentaries, when they make those video games and all that, they have to use his likeness, which is probably trademark. So now you generate income. So not only do you make them famous, you give the people that maybe not kids. I ain't gonna say that everybody was, green lighting them, but you fund a lot of the people that greenlit his behavior. So it's bad because we don't let those things die. Like I think it was 1 or 2 years ago, the people, they were dressing up as the serial killer. I forgot that they made the show on Netflix. I didn't watch it. Yeah. I didn't watch an episode of it, but it got so crazy that people were dressing up as him for Halloween, and that to me was a total affront to the people that the guy harmed. You coming out to Halloween with that on. If I was a part of the family, some of the family members that got hurt, I would be totally offended. And, to a certain extent, you probably want to do something to get them off the streets. You know what I'm saying? Without saying too much. Also, we know here too that they turn bad things into heroics, like Valentine's Day, with the Valentine's Day massacre behind it. A lot of those holidays that we celebrate, Thanksgiving, the natives were just totally destroyed and harmed, but we act like they came to the table and ate, had a big meal to celebrate the harvest, this and that, whoop-de-whoop. We turn a lot of those negative things into holidays to pull the wool over our eyes. And right now, it looked like they throwing every single distraction they can. I just looked at the evening news, and they said in over so many years they're going back to the moon. Okay, people starving here, but they going to the moon. So this is just that place that does that. So right now, especially, it's a state of distraction. And that's just one of them. Another one of them.
Rich people are also paying to go on these trips too. So it's not even scientists now. I mean, there are some scientists, but like Katy Perry went to space. I think Elon Musk went to space. There's a whole bunch of different celebrities that paid to go to space, and they treat it like a publicity stunt now. So even space is a publicity stunt at this point.
People would still believe she went to space. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't believe it. I'll never buy that bull. I think that's garbage. I think they just got great CGI and a great team that put together and made it look like it. But that's neither here nor there. Rob, you said something that I wanted to speak on real quick. You said that people are dressing up, and I'm paraphrasing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somewhere along the lines of people are dressing up as killers for Halloween, and we don't take into consideration that there are people who actually they're like their lives were changed completely because of it. We're not talking about movies where this is just all fictional. We're talking about real life Jeffrey Dahmer and so on and so on and so forth that literally went on decades of chopping bodies up and all that. And for whatever reason, we take that, we romanticize it, and then turn it into content for consumeration, if that's a word. Why do you think we move like that? Why do you think we think like that? How is it that we don't see a problem with celebrating murderers and killers?
There is some science behind it. There's a need to act out the macabre as a way to cope with the idea of mortality. Some of it stems from fear, but some of it stems from kind of the thrill of it, like same as watching a horror movie. We engage in those type of discussions because we find it interesting. Our brains find it interesting, and then also there's just something about when you are confronted with somebody doing something that is hard for you to fathom, talking about it, acting it out, just not reliving it, but like making yourself experience it through watching stuff about it, through participating in discussions about it. It helps you process that idea. This has always been something within our culture. Like, this is not anything new. We have cultures dating back to like the Stone Age, literally, that would participate in activities that would celebrate death, reenact death, personify it. So it's kind of in the same realm of that. And there's also, I kind of mentioned it, but there's also the element of fascination. We find it interesting because it's beyond the bounds of what normal humans do. And so by not like, obviously most of us are not serial killers. And so most rational people that don't have these conditions, they can't possibly understand how somebody could act like that, why someone could be like that. And so there is that natural tendency to glorify is not the right word, but it's kind of the closest I can think of, to basically exhibit that fascination for it. It's pretty well studied. There's definitely some research out there to examine why people are so obsessed with serial killers. So we'll probably find out more into the future too to understand where it stems from. But in short, it's our way of grappling with reality. Especially that's why children especially are drawn to those types of things, because they're still trying to get an understanding of the world around them. And just like, I mean, that's literally what play is for. It's for children to experiment with reality, understand how it works, and reenact it in a way that helps them process.
I think it's a lot of it is to throw us off of the scent of the real ones that's really doing this stuff in real life. Um, you could single those people out and say, look, da 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 da. But at the end of the day, this stuff has been happening for years. And I think about Jack the Ripper. I think about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I think about Batman who wears a black mask, breaks all the laws. I think about Superman who, even though he's saving the world, he's breaking all the laws. Like all of these, you know what I'm saying? And they just take a bad and turn it into a money. And then I believe that there are groups who support this kind of stuff, because some people believe that. Some people believe they doing the world a service. That they're helping, and they're purging, and they're cleansing the earth of dirt, disease, and this and that. Like you know what I mean? And when you even look at it to a certain extent, that stuff is in the Bible. You know, there's a lot. They always say, "Oh, that was just the first, the Old Testament," but a lot of that stuff, you know what I'm saying, was in there. So once they found out, okay, we could monetize, we're gonna go ahead and monetize, because at the end of the day, I'm always thinking in my head, like, why are you making these people famous? Like, why you don't just let them go and be erased? But there's always some kind of way to keep it going.
Bang, bang.
And they don't stop. They find a new way and a new way, and then they hide it in plain sight. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. Was he moving through there with guns or whatever? It doesn't even matter. It should be nothing with his name on anything in their name, whoever greenlit him for all those years. They should have no kind of, they should do that. In fact, just like they can erase something off the internet they don't want to be out there, then they should be able to go ahead and go and clean that out.
And it makes sense when you think about it. Why does the dark web exist? I mean, really ask yourself that question. The dark web has to be the worst of the worst, yet they still have air to breathe. I mean, figuratively speaking. The folks that are behind the content over there, all of them should be behind bars for the rest of their life. But the fact that it exists, it shouldn't even be a conversation. It shouldn't even be a thought, just like you just said. And that's a good point. Sydney has said it. I guess I'm reiterating. But we got a fixation with violence, man. We got a fixation with violence. I guess there's some form of stimulation that we get from it. And I know it stems from a deeper rooted issue that we don't address. It's disturbing that we've said, all right, there's no harm in these video games being pushed out here. It's just a video game. It's just kids being kids, boys being boys, whatever. But when you look at the long-term effects of it, is it really is it really as pure and innocent as we make the arguments for? I'd say it really isn't. Detroit in the building. Salute, salute, salute. In all actuality, we are a violent people. We support some of the most egregious things on the planet, and we mask it as entertainment. But is it really entertainment? Let's go there. Is these games really for entertainment purposes? Do they really go above and beyond the intentions that they're designed for, or are we just looking at it as it's fun, it's just something to enjoy for now, but in the long term the effects of it might not be so beneficial?
I think probably originally it was created out of a sense of amusement, and like the people that developed it, I can already imagine just knowing the types of people that are usually involved in like video game creation and stuff like that. They probably thought it would be funny. Like they probably created it thinking like this will stir up stuff, like this is going to be amusing. um so I anticipate from the developers end it was definitely for money, but it was also for the like shock factor, the shock value. We all know how that works in this society. We love rage bait. Rage bait gets views and clicks, and even if they don't actually play the game, people will still check out the game, and that drives traffic. Um, so I think on the video game standpoint, it was created more for the what it can generate. And I think for the players, it's a mix of like curiosity, people coming just to be like, is this really a thing? And then I do think there is a subset, albeit I would estimate that it's probably a smaller proportion. But there are going to be those people that actually have disturbing tendencies that are joining the game, that are participating in that to act out things that they think about but don't have the willingness, I guess, to do in person. Um, so I think that there's kind of a mix of that sense of curiosity, a sense of like shock factor, but then I think there are some people that do actually have issues that are going to use that platform to their advantage. And that's exactly why it's dangerous to kids, because there are going to be people on there that find sick joy out of something like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of the development team have that sense of sick joy as well. Because we all know those types of people that enjoy causing chaos, causing people to like, the heck are you talking about? So yeah, I think there's a multitude of motives for this. I would hope most of it is innocent, but I know not all of it is going to be innocent.
Yeah, I think it's they probably come out with good intentions, but guess just like everything, when you put out something, you have intended consequences, unintended consequences. And I'm trying to think with all of the because the game was always fighting games and whatever. But I'm thinking Mortal Kombat probably. Mortal Kombat, Doom, Resident Evil. That's when the games really started like getting like out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? And now, like you said, with the dark web. Speaking of the dark web too, I just had when I got my website built, the builder told me that I had a whole dark identity, that somebody had pretty much cloned my identity. I don't know what they was doing whatever, but she had to go in. She said she had to do all of these tests and all of that to get people that was using my likeness out of there. So the bad parts of the internet also are monetized. And then we got to that stage to where the more dumb and the more violent the games were, they sold more. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the most one I could think of is Mortal Kombat. And then when we look at it too, those games were supposed to be for older teenagers and adults. But as the generations grew, now the kids have access to them, and now the kids have more access than we do. So it's like at the end of the day, as much as they probably know it's bad, they still gonna get their money. It's just like the cigarette companies paying for don't smoke ads, even though at the same time they posting their cigarette. They got all of the commercials about how cool it is to smoke. They're behind the scenes saying, "Hey, let's pay for some of the damage we did." Wooty whoop. Or the food companies, that a lot of the companies that pump out unhealthy food, they pay for eat healthy ads. You know what I'm saying? Once they got to a point where it's like, hey, this finna get some money, and it's a go. And at this point right now, they bringing all the old stories back. I'm watching. I can see them they probably gonna bring Freddy Krueger back. They probably gonna bring Jason back. You know what I'm saying? They don't let their stuff die. So with these games, okay, you know what? Because at the end of the day, the guy did have supporters. He did have a fan base, and he was connected all over the world. So I could see his fan base saying, "Hey, oh, this is lit right here. Let's see what this is about." Oh, shout the FFG said he went to, or she, I don't know, whoever that is. They said shout out to you. You said you went to prison for video games. That's wow. And then somebody mentioned Grand Theft Auto, which is supposed to be for adults because the content in that is horrible. And you got parents to a certain extent. I probably would be the type to where I'd rather them get it from me than get it in the streets, so that I could teach them how to make decisions and still think for themselves after that. But when the people got access to these things unchecked, you best believe it's going down. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, if the new Grand Theft Auto didn't just come out, it's coming. And I know that it's probably pre-saved in millions of consoles right now.
I know they label a lot of those games, but you can label all of them all you want. If the parental guidelines at home aren't reinforced, it really don't make a difference how many labels you put on them. I mean, granted, you're trying to protect yourself, but when you get home, you got brothers and sisters that are older than you that's going to play the games. You can sneak and play with them and all that other stuff. And is there really a fine line between Freddie and Jeffrey Dahmer? Is there a fine line between Michael Myers and Jeffrey Epstein? Especially when we're talking about you're putting it on the big screen for people to consume. Maybe you want to see a documentary. Maybe you're fascinated by the backstory. You want to know how they grew up. What kind of person was this man or woman? Were they normal? Did they eat caterpillars? Like what type of person was this for them to end up the way they were? I'm curious. I'm invested. I see that a lot on social media. You get a clip of something, it reel you in, and it's like, all right, I need more. You can't just give me this little bit right here and then that's it.
I think this is going to sound terrible. It's not how I think, but I think it's how a lot of people think. We have come to accept that like violence happens to adults. And so when we see it reenacted in video games through war video games or like murder games or whatever, you know, they have the whole gamut. It's easier for us to accept because, I mean, it's part of our reality. We hear about murders on the news all the time. We see documentaries of them interviewing killers and analyzing the psychology of them and stuff like that. So we've become more blasé about adults being killed and experiencing other things. But I think where a lot of people cross the line are assaults, both of adults, but especially children. Like, I mean, we all know in prison, if you are found to be a perpetrator of those particular crimes, there's very little hope for you to get out unscathed. People do not, even the most hardened criminals do not tolerate people doing things to children. And so it's easier for us to kind of become desensitized to violence against adults, but it's a lot more alarming once there is a portrayal of this type of stuff happening to children. And there's far fewer people that are willing to accept games, movies, whatever, that show that. And even in movies and depictions, it's a lot more censored than it is with adults. Like, there are definitely shows where you see people being murdered viciously and whatever, obviously with special effects and stuff. But there's very, very few depictions of anything like that happening to children. Usually they cut away and just do the sound or something like that. So there's definitely a difference in how we treat violence against adults and violence against children. But I do think it's alarming that it seems like, especially because of the Epstein files and because of all of these revelations of religious leaders and people in powerful positions being found to do these types of things. I think it's alarming that we are starting to see this in actual, like, playable style. Because it's one thing to watch movies because you can frame it to be educational, but when it's a game, you're either in the shoes of the person having that done to them, or you're in the shoes of the person doing the action, or you're directly watching. And it's different when you're in a game because you're actively engaged in what's happening, whereas a TV show, in a movie, whatever, there's a separation. Like, you're watching the perspective of somebody else, but you're not actually in it. Like, video games are different in the brain than movies, because in video games it places you into that reality. That's why virtual reality is having such an effect on people, because your brain literally thinks that it's actually happening. And it causes psychosis and other issues in the brain because your brain literally cannot tell the difference between an experience and a fictional depiction that you're participating in. So I think it's more alarming to people, to me, like to see this transition to incorporating this type of content, especially in a manner that kids can get a hold of. Like it's different with something like GTA or the video games that you have to buy the physical copy for, because most kids aren't going to be able to go to the store and just buy it. Like the parents have to be the ones to buy it for them. But when it's an online platform, basically any kid with an unmonitored internet connection can have access to this game. And when you're that young, you're not going to be able to understand what you're seeing to the same degree as an adult. Like adults are going to be able to see that, make judgment calls, step away, be like, oh, no, this is, I understand what's happening here, I don't want any part of this. They also understand that it isn't real, but kids don't have that yet. It takes until late teenage, early 20s to fully differentiate between reality and what they see in games. Like I still to this day remember when I played Zoo Tycoon as a kid. I was about like 10, 11. I thought that every time I was releasing an animal to the wild in the game, I was actually doing that in real life. I literally thought those animals were real and going to like in nature, and I was helping nature and stuff like that. And it took me until I was probably like 12 to 13 to realize like, oh, this is just a game. I'm not actually contributing to repopulation of wildlife and stuff like that. But kids think. They don't understand that what they're seeing isn't reality, and so it causes more deep-seated trauma to them. It's not just something that, you know, is a game, is fiction. They are mentally there. And they've seen that with other types of video games, like people who play war games as a young child consistently actually end up developing symptoms similar to PTSD that you'd see in soldiers. And they also are more, this one is a little bit more muddied because it could technically be the personalities make them be interested in those games, but kids who play violent video games do end up picking up personality traits that are more akin to violent individuals. And there is a relatively studied link between violence in video games and ending up in prison later in life. So it's going to have an effect on kids, and it's another reason why we need to, as parents, we need to be supervising our kids and being very, very strict about the stuff that we allow them to consume.
I'll be the first to say I need my good old American violence, man. I need my football. As much as I wanted to protest with Kaepernick and all of that, I need my college football. I need my boxing. I ain't too much of a fan, but I need my UFC. You know, it's hard to watch a whole fight, but when I do, I need that. I need the first time, when it's time to movie time, I'm going to the action section, be first. In between time, I could have seen all the movies. I still go back and scroll through to see if there's something that snuck by me. And when we look at the cartoons, they've been crazy. I heard that the SpongeBob was like based on Epstein Island. Kind of look at the similarities. You know, the Simpsons seemed like the Simpsons predicted the future. You got, I was looking at old clips of Mickey Mouse, old clips of Popeyes. They was kind of wild, based on some, you know what I'm saying, things, and they had those things in it. So like Sis said, they had been sending those messages. Even if you look at something that's like the X-Men, the Marvel comic, the X-Men were going at their oppressors, but that was supposedly a play of what happened in Nazi Germany, and also a play at what happened with the people of color here in America. So those messages had always been out, but now, yes, you are able to play them in first person. And I'm thinking at this point right now, the worse the game is, or the worse the character, the more some people want to play it. And you would think, again, our government is always saying we're supposed to be so morally correct. You would think that there are more watchdogs that are doing this stuff, but the way I feel now, it's like we gotta go ahead and put, because like y'all said, those things, the dark web been out since the beginning. You could always find all types of different stuff on the black market, and the fact that there's a market for that stuff, I don't think too many people. Some people, again, support that market. Not only are they fans of it, but then the ability to monetize on it just makes it even better, because with all of those charges, you would think even the judge or the federal courts would say, hey, that based on the situation, that game ain't allowed. You got to change the name or something. But the fact that you could run around Epstein Island and all of that, it's just another slap in the face. And again, I think they're going hard with the distractions right now. Even the conspiracy theorists in me is like, the traveling, people started traveling, they're getting hip to the world, the ways of the world, they're coming back. I have a good friend who went to Japan, and she was there for a few weeks, and she came back and said, hey, we live in a third world country. And if she didn't go there, she wouldn't be able to come back with that experience. So I think not paying the TSA workers and doing little things like that, talking about going to the moon, and all the sports, we already know the sports was used to distract us. It's just a way that they could go ahead and get their business done, because if you really look at it, none of this stuff stopped happening. The serial killings, the child stuff, this stuff been going on. And again, it was going on right under our noses in plain sight. To some extent, a lot of it was normal. It was deemed normal in the eyes, especially of the eyes of the government. When you look at even the marriage ages, people was allowed to get married at 14. And they'll say, well, yeah, the death rate, people were dying at younger ages. So that was a way for them to, express their love or whatever. But at the same time, a 14-year-old, like, come on, they can't even think straight.
Unpopular opinion, but I think the government is a reflection of the people. If it don't apply to you, then this shouldn't really rub you the wrong way. I honestly think they are a manifestation of the people of the United States. Because why else would they be able to continuously put this type of content out in our face and nothing is done about it? Clearly, somebody accepts it. Clearly, nobody is mad enough, or it doesn't really rub you the wrong way to the extent to where you want to get out of your seat, get in your car, and go physically speak on behalf of those who can't really defend themselves. Like, if people were really bothered by the school shootings and the little pieces that play catalyst to how a person ends up later on, 10 years, 15 years later down the road, being sociopaths and all that, you will see more action. And for folks that's in these seats doing what they're doing, to be able to maintain it as long as they have, to me, it's like, well, y'all see what we doing. You ain't doing nothing. You're not saying nothing about it or signing off on the right documentation to get us out of here. So clearly, you must be benefiting from this stuff as much as we are. I know that's an ugly opinion. I know it's very controversial and it's probably a nasty take. But as many reaction videos that I do, and I've done a lot of them, it's hard for me to think otherwise. I just finished recording something with an assistant principal. Yeah, an assistant principal. He just got arrested for grooming a kid. So from that seat to the VR aspect of it, which Sid was speaking on, to what you talking about, I think honestly, it's just a lot of us are on the side of evil for real.
I don't know if it's a reflection of the people, to be honest. I think that, like I said, I always have to be careful because I'm fed by, so leave it at that. But I don't, because at the end of the day, the people didn't vote for Trump. The populace at first did not vote for Trump. The people, what they're not showing, they just did the no kings all over the world. The people in Minneapolis, I don't know how to say it, Minneapolis, Minnesota, they never stopped. People in Portland, Oregon, they never stopped. They've been going crazy, working against these things, and the opposition is still winning. I think what it is now, to be honest, the empire is grasping for straws. I think it's falling apart. It's being exposed, and like-minded people are stopping it. But what happens is the empire has had this influence for so long that they don't know no other way but to, you know what I mean? Just kidding. So you know what? We've been doing these distractions and having these plans and working these things out for now. So we got to find a way to keep it going. But I think it's imploding right in our face, because at the end of the day, when you even look at what's happening between Israel and Iran, Iran have been resistant, but this is the first time that it seems to me that since I've been watching that they're gung ho, and then they even apparently threatened to release the Epstein files, and they're not backing down. So I think people are tired and they're fighting, and I think that the government only represents a few people, because really like-minded people that's getting up, going and grinding every day, working, trying to feed their family. They don't want their family playing no games like that. They don't want their family at risk. They don't want their family learning about serial killers and all of that. You don't want that. But then when you look on TV, right, what you got snapped, 48 hours, the crazy neighbor next door, the like 50 channels of negativity, and then you get the documentaries and all that. They put all these documentaries and all that. Like, most of us don't want to see that stuff. it's gotten so bad. It's to a point where you kind of gotta watch it to stay in the loop. Like I had these conversations all the time. They're like, "Yo, did you see this? Did you see that? Did you see?" And I'm like, "Nah, like I don't want to see it." You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see negativity all day. I deal with that. And I deal with my own negativity in my head, at war with myself over where I'm headed with my art and my business. So at the end of the day, we are still being pushed this stuff and pushed this stuff and pushed this stuff to where now we think a lot of times we think it's normal. And what kids gonna be kids, you know what I'm saying? If you put something mischievous in their hand, they gonna see what's up with it. They're not gonna. They might tell you, "Yeah, I ain't gonna look at it. Don't worry." But as soon as you tell them again not to do this, that, da 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 da, and who was this person harming, right? So he was apparently harming children, right? So what do? You get those same kids again. Oh, it wasn't that bad. Here, I'm gonna give you something to have fun to. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't think that they represent the regular population, because when we look at even different cultures, when you start going around, you look at and realize that most of these people got the same worries. We all got the same problems. We put our pants on the same way, and we got the same issues. Even if you rich or you poor, maybe not economically, but you have the same pressures, and in some cases more. You could be rich and have way more pressure on you than a poor person, because a lot of times when I've seen, when I was dirt poor, I ain't have no worries. Now I'm trying to come up. I'm trying to feed the family and all this and all that. Now I got every barrier in the world stopping me. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at the situation, now that can't be a representation, because clearly, even right now with this administration, the people is outside and they're not showing how many people are outside and what's actually being done to stop the madness. But what happens is, again, those laws haven't been changed, so we having the same cycles.
I was going to say something very similar, where I don't think what we're seeing is a representation of the people, because the people no longer represent what the government is putting out. I think what we're seeing is representative of the people in power, the rich, the people that are able to buy their way to the top, buy their way to innocence, buy their way out of situations that normal people would be put away for life for. We see it already in everything that's happening with these lack of trials. Like, we have a number of politicians and highly lofty individuals who have direct connections to somebody who is known for trafficking, not ending up in prison, not being impeached, not being removed, not being arrested, nothing. We're seeing nothing. And that is not the will of the people. Like, if you go on social media, and with exception of those who are MAGA, I guess, or hardcore Republicans, and even hardcore Republicans are switching over because of all of this happening. But for the most part, when you go online, all I see is release the Epstein files. Why aren't these people in jail? Why haven't they been impeached? When is this going to happen? So collectively, this country is angry about what is happening, but we only really have the ability to march, which we're doing. I mean, the first No Kings rally in, I forgot when it was, like November or October of last year. That was the largest protest in U.S. history, next to the I think it was the first environmental march. But people are paying attention. People are angry. They are taking to the streets. They are not putting up with what is going on. But again, the only options we have is to march and to vote. And even now, our ability to march and vote is being compromised by the people in power. We are having people being arrested just for peacefully protesting. We are having people deported because they're speaking out against these people online. We are having multiple jurisdictions around this country having their voting rights eroded, where women, trans individuals, because of name changes, are having their ability to vote removed. Some states are trying to fight to have women's votes nested under their husbands, so that would reduce the votes of a household by half. They're trying to change how people are allowed to vote, because if you remove mail-in voting, that means anybody with a disability, anyone out of the country, students, people that are homeless, people that are in like facilities, nursing homes, stuff like that, anybody that is not close to their home or does not have the ability to go out to a station, to a place of voting location, even people with off work hours. Like some people don't get off until like 9 p.m., but most of them close at like 7. So anybody that does not fall within the I can travel easily, or I'm close to the jurisdiction voting centers, are not going to be able to vote. And so that's a way to legally reduce the ability of people to vote. Also, the passport, having to have a passport to vote. A lot of people don't have a passport, and it's expensive and a long process to get a passport. And so they're trying to make it that a lot of people who don't have passports can't even vote, even if they're American citizens. So we're already seeing our rights eroded by the same people that are perpetrating these crimes, or that are turning their nose away and ignoring the other people that are participating in these crimes, because they're being enriched by the same people. Their businesses are votes, essentially. When you are powerful enough to pay for the campaigns of politicians, you can keep people out of jail, you can control the law, you can get whatever you want, because all you have to do is some under the table, here you go, and then you get favor when it comes time to create laws and stuff like that. So going back to the original comment, I really don't think that this attitude, this behavior, this acceptance of that type of horrible treatment is a reflection of the people. It's a reflection of those who hold the most power in this society, because our society no longer represents the will of we the people. It represents we the money, basically. So yeah, I would definitely push back on, I don't think that this is how a lot of people think. I think that it's how the most powerful think.
My only point was, and I agree with everything y'all said, but my point was, well, if the people were really bothered by it, why didn't you do something? Stop working. You see my lights on right now? Don't clock in. Stay at home. You don't want to go across seas? Don't go. Leave the gun. Don't get in the tank. You really feel so against everything that they are doing and you don't want no parts of it? To show them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that it's a bunch of normal, impoverished communities that's doing what Epstein and them are doing. What I'm saying is there's, how can I put this? The same way I just said that assistant principal was grooming a minor, it ain't no different than what they doing in the Oval Office. There was a mother who forced her child to perform oral on her at the age of 6 years old. It's the same thing they doing in the Oval Office. She ain't no wealthy woman. She's a regular 9-to-5er on food stamps or whatever. She's right in the same type of neighborhoods that we in. My only point was there's people like them out here who don't really care about what they're doing, so they're not going to be the ones standing in the line voting for this person or that person because they don't care. And they probably are a part of the same type of ritualistic behaviors that they are. I do concede to this though. It is majority of the upper class that's really the issue here. But I'm looking at neighbors sideways. I'm looking at janitors sideways. In the last 2 years, I done covered 15, 20 different stories of teachers and counselors all doing the same thing that Epstein was doing. Are they upper class? When you say, and I want to get back to the whole game situation. Are we talking about managers, supervisors, or are we talking about Tiger Woods, Condoleezza Rice, and stuff like that?
Well, I know we're getting close to time, and we could go on and on about this. But when you look at Roblox was being sued for allowing people to create those type of games on there, but they still heavy in the game. When you look at Facebook, they get sued all the time for remember they was getting sued for allowing racist content, but they was blocking other people that was telling the truth. You got TikTok, which they're so desperately trying to get rid of. So there have been motions, but they're not trumping. You got people that's pushing bills to ban this stuff all of the time. And then at the end of the day, people's hands is tied right now because, I mean, look what we got in the office. You know what I'm saying? Found guilty. Felons that are home right now that changed their life around are not able to vote. When you go back to chattel slavery, the people of color was looked at as 3/5 of the population. They wasn't even counted properly. When you look at women, they pretty much got their rights to be able to vote. So when you got all of these policies that's supposed to be protecting us against that, and then you get all of these people in office, you know, it's a lot of times there's nothing people could do. And then it becomes so trivial at a certain time where it'll drive you crazy because you want to do something about it, but at the end of the day, you can't. You know what I'm saying? And you can look, again, the No Kings rally and whatever, people protesting and demonstrating, but ain't nobody said nothing about that guy stepping down. You know what I'm saying? So the push is there, but the powers that be that support that type of behavior are still out there. And when you even think about this guy, he was let go for the same stuff 3-4 times. They was, not only was they letting him go, they was putting him on like house arrest, this and that, da 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 da, and he was still pretty much scot-free. And like Sid, and you said it earlier, Sid said it, where if it was a regular person, especially a person of color, they would have got the book thrown at him. But because he was so connected to this person, that people, this organization, that organization, he was getting let free till it came to that point to where even they not even really handing his crimes over to the girl that's still alive. They got the girl in protective custody and this and that. But at the same time, again, if it was somebody else, they would have been in regular. You would have been in the regular state prison. You know what I'm saying? No kind of. And when you look at it, look at Diddy, similar stuff. When you look at Jack Johnson, the boxer from back in the days, the black boxer, they made new laws putting him. They made new laws to put him in jail for transporting white women across the state lines. So Diddy got caught for the same thing. They didn't let him out 3-4 times. And I'm not saying that Diddy was right. What I'm saying with the double standard. And then again, these people are protected. The same guy for Abercrombie and Fitch that they found was doing a lot of that stuff. He got out on bond. So again, when you're looking at this stuff, what Sydney said, even Biden, as much as Biden did good, whoopty whoop, before he left, he pardoned a lot of old friends that was just outright criminals. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we are, we like, oh man, what you doing? We trying to get justice for the people and this and that, da 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 da. But the whoever's controlling things behind it, they're not trying to change nothing because it works in their favor. So this is why I come back to where they're grasping for straws, because you can only hide in plain sight for so long.
One thing that Carol was listening in that she brought up with was part of this whole conspiracy to hide is essentially a truce, like between all of them, where they're basically like, I won't tell if you don't tell. And so they're able to get away with this stuff longer because they know what's happening. They know what the evidence is. They, as Carol said, they know where the bodies are buried. But because they're all connected to each other and benefiting off of each other, they've made a deal to all keep quiet. And I think that's one of the things that we are that we need to see, I guess, for this to all break open is somebody needs to break. There needs to be one, all it'll take is one person coming forward and being like, you know what? Yeah, that is true. But again, all of these people are intimately connected. Like, I don't think the normal citizen understands just how deeply connected all of these rich people are. Like Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and Trump and all of these people, they don't live in bubbles. They're all connected to each other. They talk, they're friends, that even though they might not show it, a lot of these highly powerful people are deeply connected. And they are protecting each other. They are making sure that one person's crime is not uncovered because it's going to connect to everybody else. And I think that's what we're seeing right now is this level of desperation, because now that this is out in the open, people know, all these rich powerful people know that as soon as one thing is proven correct, it's going to be dominoes. We're going to be like, oh, you are connected to you and you are connected to you, the money's coming from you, and like it's a whole network that we until now really hadn't been aware of, or like we speculated but we didn't really have proof of it. Maybe we knew about some of the monetary ties, but they're so much more deeply connected than I think any of us really recognize. I mean, proof is with Trump's whole cabinetry. All of them knew each other before. He's handpicking people that he already knows who have been involved in this whole scheme, who have participated in fraud alongside him. All of these people are not random. And I think that's another thing that we have to pay attention to is who are the ones that are connected to each other. Like, who do they hang out with? Who are the funders of these individuals? Like, which businesses help each other, because that will give us an idea of just how widespread this network is.
So follow the money and risk being unalived. And if you're a person of color, you already know Stokely Carmichael called that revolutionary suicide.
What, so I gotta sit here and eat dessert alone like I'm fucking Steven Glansberg?
Hey, shout outs, Rob. Shout outs. Said this was a great one to start the week off. We about to get about it because I know we pushed the envelope a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of gems. Shout outs to Chef, SM, and everybody who pulled up to kick the week off. We about to get about it. Long week ahead of us. More conversations to have. You guys enjoy the rest of your week, man. We up out of here. Drive safe and see y'all soon. All right.
Tell them push that button, bro.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? How could I forget? Hey, do me a solid before y'all go. What was I thinking?
Push the goddamn button.
You're
Peace.
out early.
The flow insane, take my spot, so the range. Shoot my shot with perfect aim. 3rd degree, that perfect flame. Ain't no sleep, that's the game. Oh, so southern, that's the slang. When they see me, that's the main. Chasing checks and fly like planes. Big old stick, I bought a cane.